In this deeply emotional, true-to-life story, a black woman in a small town cries out for help during a terrifying night. But instead of support, she's met with laughter, indifference, and systemic failure. What follows is a powerful journey of resilience, rage, and rising up. This is more than a story. It's a mirror, and it asks us all, when someone cries for help, do we laugh or do we listen? It was 2:37 a.m. when the silence shattered. Rain had been falling steadily for hours in the small, sleepy town of Walden Creek, a place that looked like it belonged on postcards, white picket fences, swaying oak trees, and church bells on Sundays. But beneath the surface, it was a place where old roots ran deep and prejudice was tucked away like family heirlooms, hidden yet always present. Nia Bennett had moved to Walden Creek a year ago with dreams of starting over. After her mother passed from cancer and her brother was sentenced on a charge that never should have made it past an honest jury, she packed up her life in Atlanta and headed north. Walden Creek was supposed to be her new beginning. She was a nurse, a healer, a helper. She believed in goodness because she'd been raised on it. Her small one-bedroom apartment sat above a closed-down bookstore at the edge of town, a place most people forgot even existed. But to Nia, it was peace. That night, she had come home late after a double shift. She had just placed her keys on the counter and kicked off her sneakers when she heard the sound, a shattering, like someone had taken a crowbar to her window. Her heart caught in her throat. She rushed to the living room, pulling the curtain aside, and froze. There were 3 of them, white, young, drunk, probably. One was swinging a bat lazily over his shoulder like he was on a playground. Another had a red MAGA hat tilted back on his head. The third, the tallest, was laughing, loud and long like this was all a game. Then the shouting started. "Come on out, Black Barbie. Bet you cry just like your people. You don't belong here, girl." Nia backed away from the window, hands trembling. She grabbed her phone and called 911. Her voice cracked as she told the dispatcher what was happening. "They're breaking my window. They're threatening me." "Ma'am, calm down," the dispatcher said flatly. "Are they inside your apartment?" "No, but—" "Then we'll send someone when we can. Stay inside." Click. Just like that. Nia cried out for help. Literally. She opened the window, hoping someone, anyone might see, might care, but the apartment across the street, lights stayed off. The man walking his dog paused, looked up at her face streaked with tears, and turned around. Her neighbors, who borrowed sugar and complimented her garden, suddenly had nothing to say. And the boys down below, they laughed, loud, unapologetic, the kind of laugh that has no fear of consequence, the kind of laugh that knows the system is on its side. "Look at her beg," the one in the red hat sneered. "She thinks we're scared of her tears." When the police finally arrived, 48 minutes later, they were calm, almost bored. They took her statement with all the urgency of someone reading an instruction manual. No one was harmed. One officer said, "No need to escalate." Nia pointed out the shattered glass, the racist slurs still echoing off the brick. "They threatened me. They called me names. I was terrified." The officer, white in his 40s, thick mustache and thicker indifference, shrugged. Boys being boys. She was black, and alone, and female, and crying, and they laughed. The next morning, Nia sat on the edge of her unmade bed, staring at her hands like they didn't belong to her. There were things she should have done. Gone to work, called her sister, maybe cleaned up the glass still scattered across her living room. But she couldn't move. The laughter haunted her, not because it was loud, but because it was familiar. She had heard it before, in the hallways of high school when her hair was mocked, on the bus when she was told to go back to Africa, in the grocery store when she was followed by security. It was a laugh of power unchecked. But this time, something shifted. It wasn't just sadness she felt. It was rage. And it was holy. Nia wiped her eyes, stood, and said, "Not this time." She posted her story online. She showed pictures of the damage, shared audio from her phone she had managed to record, of their voices, their threats, their laughter. Within hours, her post went viral. What started as a single post spread like wildfire. Activists from Atlanta showed up. So did reporters. Students from the local college began organizing. Signs appeared on the courthouse steps. Justice for Nia. Our tears are not jokes. Laugh now, fight later. But with every new supporter came a new enemy. The mayor called for peace. The police chief denied wrongdoing. Conservative columnists wrote that Nia was playing the race card. And then came the threats. Letters slid under her door. Emails from fake accounts. She began to fear her own footsteps again. But the difference this time, she wasn't alone. One night, someone knocked at her door. She almost didn't open it. It was her neighbor, Mrs. Clarice, an 82-year-old white woman who had barely spoken to her in a year. She held a small, warm pie in her hands and a trembling smile on her lips. "I saw what they did," she said. "I should have helped. I didn't. But I'm here now." It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a beginning. 2 of the boys were arrested after public pressure mounted. The third was never charged. In court, their lawyers argued they were intoxicated, that no real harm had occurred. Nia sat on the witness stand, voice steady, heart thundering. "Every black woman in this country," she said, "knows what it means to cry and be ignored. We are taught to be strong, because nobody is coming. But that doesn't make the silence right. It makes it criminal." The courtroom fell into an aching quiet. The judge sentenced the boys to community service and a fine. No jail time. No hate crime charge. It was not justice. But it was not silence, either. Months passed. The window was fixed. Her story faded from the headlines. But something had changed in Walden Creek. The mayor started a community review board. The police department underwent training. A mural of black women survivors was painted near City Hall, with Nia in the center, head held high. Nia stayed. People often asked her why. Because she would say, "I want the next girl who cries for help to be heard. I want the next woman they laugh at to know she's not alone." This story isn't just about one woman. It's about a system, a society where black pain is minimized, where black fear is treated as exaggeration, and where black cries are met with mockery instead of aid. But the truth is, every laugh at a black woman's pain echoes generations of neglect, dismissal, and dehumanization. And still they rise, still they speak, still they stay, because change doesn't come from comfort. It comes from courage. Subscribe for more real-life inspired storytelling that exposes truth, injustice, and the fight for dignity. Share this story to speak up for the voiceless.